An injured athlete is not really being an athlete anymore because you can't train. So you have to, as Judy was saying, develop a sense of self-awareness and be smart about it. By missing a workout or even a week or two of workouts, it's not the end of the world, because you have to look at it from a micro or macro perspective. You want to be doing this sport because it's a lifestyle sport, not only for the next year, but for the next 50 years. So taking care of an injury or an oncoming injury right away is the way to handle it. So I recommend immediately the basic things. You ice. If you start feeling that nagging injury come along, you probably take at least a few days off. And if that doesn't work, you go see your medical professional, your orthopedic surgeon, your physical therapist, and have them give you insights and input as to how to take care of that injury then, as opposed to letting it become a bigger problem in the future.
If you want a quick word for this, is RICE, rest, ice, compression, and elevation. When you have this sort of sprain or strain kind of thing, that's what they recommend you do with the limb. Like right after you've come home and you realize this throbbing pain, you ice it. You can't imagine how many times we've been asked, you heat an injury, right? Like you heat that swollen ankle. No! You stop the swelling, keep it elevated and wrapped, compressed. But certainly you would see a professional. We can't give you this, if it's a sprained ankle, keep going. If it's an IT band syndrome, stop at all costs. It's really going to be like, listen to your body.